Well, hello there.
You know what I need? I need my own signature opening sentence because you say hello there every time. It's fantastic. The only thing I could come back with is hello, Mr. Benoit, or something like that. And it's getting old. I need something of my own.
Okay. Well, work on it, dude.
All
I
right, we need to work on it.
don't take well hello there though. That's mine.
No, that one
That's
is all you.
my
Yeah.
three
In
words.
fact, the hello there in and of itself is a t-shirt, right? We've been talking t-shirts, and yet amazingly, hello there has not been one of the
I
t-shirts
know.
we've
The
decided
hell.
we're gonna
You know
do.
what? I'm gonna put that. That's in the
Add
list.
that to the list.
It is.
Add it to the list I think with an image of your face. That is
Mm.
what the audience demands.
And then t-shirt sales plummet. Okay. Uh,
Well,
um.
can't have it all.
That's true. That's true. Guess what I'm doing tonight?
Okay, let me see. Let me see. Should I actually guess? Are you asking me to guess, or should I say what?
You can guess. You're gonna be wrong. You can guess.
I can guess. Okay. You are going to throw. No, there's no first pitch because we're not in baseball season. It's not what's today, Thursday night. Are the Bears in town? Are you like the
Oh.
halftime show? No, nothing like that. All right, tell me. I can't figure it out. Todd, do you have a
I,
guess? Do you wait? Let's let Todd guess. Maybe
all right.
Todd knows.
I'll even give you a hint.
You,
I'm going to go see a musical act.
You're gonna see me. Todd, which musical act is going to see? This is an obvious one.
Is it?
well, I just saw Kiss's last show, so it's
Nice.
not that.
Good for you.
Deductive reasoning, a great skill in the business world.
Yes,
All right, keep going. Do you have any guess? Anything, Todd? Just throw it out there.
I was going to say he was going to attend the Racing for Recovery live stream meeting tonight, but I don't know.
Are you going to see Kool and the Gang? That would be something else because we just interviewed their lead singer. No?
No, he didn't send me tickets. So I am taking my beautiful bride to go see a band called Dogstar. Do you know who Dogstar is?
I've heard of them.
I have not.
Okay.
I want to say I have because I'm sure I would be much cooler if the answer was that I have, but I have not.
Okay. It's okay. The reason why you haven't heard of them is because you're not a huge, or maybe you are, but maybe not the next level Keanu Reeves fan, because that's his band.
It.
No way.
Yeah. So we're going to go see Dogstar. Kara bought these tickets months ago. This is her hall pass, right? Keanu's her hall pass. So I am taking her to basically, I don't think she's going to hear a single note of what's playing. She's just going to be fixated on a particular basis. He doesn't even have a microphone, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Who is your hall pass, PJ? If I may ask.
There's a whole list.
There's a list. Aren't you only allowed to have one person on your hall pass? Isn't that the whole point of the hall pass?
I can wish. A guy could have dreams. Come on now.
Okay. Well, name one person on that list. I'm just curious. Curious. I don't know your style other than Kara. She's lovely.
Oh, Kara's gorgeous. Kara's my hall pass. How's that?
Kara is your hall pass.
Good answer.
What a cop out. All right. Well, we'll let you have it. Why don't we tell our audience about our amazing guest today, one of our best yet?
Yeah. Person who leaves me in the dust in more ways than one, Mr. Todd Crandell. Todd Crandell, also known as the original Sober Triathlete, right there, triathlete, out of my purview, is a licensed clinical counselor and licensed chemical dependency counselor, a triathlete, an author, documentary subject, speaker, and the founder of the well-known nonprofit called Racing for Recovery that has changed and continues to change thousands of lives by helping substance abusers rechannel destructive behaviors into positive, life-affirming actions. There's a personal story behind that passion, and that is that Todd's own 13-year struggle with drugs and alcohol nearly destroyed his life. It devastated his relationships with family and friends and ended a potential pro hockey career. Oh, all right, we're going to talk about that. That's devastating just to hear. Fortunately, Todd got better. He got much, much better. He did it through a dedicated pursuit of extreme physical fitness and personal well-being, which we'll hear about today. In his pursuit of recovery, he applied his energy to pursue the most grueling sport imaginable, the Ironman triathlon. To those who don't know what that means, that is a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, which I think is more than I've ever ridden in my life, and
combined.
Yeah, exactly. And a full-on 26.2-mile run, back to back without a break in between. Todd ran his first.
Wait. Can you go to the bathroom? Well, you know what? You can go to the bathroom while you're swimming. That's efficiency right there. All right, keep going.
Todd ran his first triathlon in 1999 and has since completed over 100 of them. He chronicled his journey in 3 books, From Addict to Ironman. There's more than one way to get to Cleveland, which
Is there really? Is there a reason to want more than one way to get to Cleveland?
Don't, you know,
okay.
our huge Ohio fan base. And most recently, Choices and Consequences. He was also the subject of 3 documentaries, Addict, Running with Demons, and Pure Euphoria, which was nominated as Best Short Documentary in 2020. Todd regularly speaks around the country to school districts, corrections facilities, drug treatment centers, community groups, and other organizations with one simple message: with sobriety, anything is possible. Todd, amazing journey you've had. We look forward to sharing, or for you to share it with all of our listeners and viewers here. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Braving Business Podcast.
I can tell this is going to be awesome with you guys. You're a trip. I'm ready for it. Let's go.
There you go. All right. Well, let's see if you say that at the end. We reserve a short window of time at the end of the recording for feedback and famous last words. But Todd, all kidding aside, thank you so much for joining us today. I pursued you to be on this show because I thought your story on so many levels. Obviously, you actually founded Racing for Recovery, which is not just nationally known, it's internationally known and has changed lots of lives. I personally have, I'm not a recovering addict, but my first wife is, and I take the matter of substance abuse very seriously from personal reasons. And frankly, a huge number of people, regardless of where they are in life, are either in the throes of dealing with addiction, working themselves to recover, or love someone that is. So I felt that this would be an episode that would touch on many of the things and themes that we champion here at the Braving Business Podcast. So let's start with you. Your journey from struggling with drugs and alcohol to eventually become the original sober triathlete, which, by the way, PJ, is trademarked. So don't even consider going out there and trying to trademark that, because Todd's got that. Okay.
Thank you.
I could see the wheels turning in your head.
I was going to do
it. I know who I'm dealing with. But Todd, it's clearly an incredible story of redemption and perseverance and resilience and a whole lot of other things. And we'd love to maybe have you share a little bit about what got you to where you were, that point that addicts need to reach, the proverbial rock bottom from which they can bounce up. Can you share the story and the moment that sparked that decision to turn your life around?
Well, first of all, I'm thankful to be on with you guys. The media has helped me share the Racing for Recovery message forever. I'm going to condense this real quickly. Here's the benefits of having my mom kill herself for drugs and alcohol. It gave me an opportunity to survive my choice to use drugs and alcohol to cope with my mom's suicide for 13 years. And I don't like to use rock bottom. I had a new beginning by getting my 3rd DUI on April 15th of 1993. And I said, that's it. I'm done with drugs and alcohol, and I haven't touched them for over 30 years. And now we're going to talk about the life that I live and what I'm trying to do to help others get it through Racing for Recovery. That's a quick synopsis of it.
That's awesome. So you had mentioned that, and first of all, sorry about your mom. Obviously, you've taken that just devastating event, but you've made that something positive within yourself, and you've been able to not only grow that within yourself, but also to share that with others, which is all the kudos to you for that. She would be extremely proud of you, obviously. Engaging in extreme physical fitness and well-being was, in your own words, a crucial part of your own recovery. What would you say to someone who's currently struggling and seeking a constructive outlet for their journey to sobriety?
Find something. Certainly, I'm not telling people, hey, if you have a drug addiction, you have to do 113 Ironmans to be sober. I'm not saying that. Physical fitness has always been a part of my life. We talked about hockey earlier. You mentioned that. But I believe in implementing a balanced, holistic lifestyle to help people sustain sobriety. If you're into art, go paint. If you want to go back to being a basketball coach for youth, go do that. Just do something other than drugs and alcohol. And hopefully it's something that you enjoy. And that's what I've done with sports my entire life. And now I've used Ironman as a great marketing tool to promote my message.
So let's talk about your story, right? So you know, at some point in your life, there was a potential path to a professional hockey career. Were you aware of your mother's struggle long before you know, her life ended, or did that come as a surprise to you? I can't imagine it did, but what was that experience?
I knew my mom had died. I didn't know how until Christmas Day. I think I was 10 years old on Christmas Day. I read a note from my dad to my grandmother talking about my mom's suicide and what had actually happened. So that's what I got for Christmas that year, along with a life-size Wile E. Coyote. So it just, even though that information seems harsh to me, at least I knew what happened. But I use sport my entire life as a coping skill, and hockey was my saving grace for a number of years. I played with guys that eventually went on to the NHL, but I chose drugs and alcohol over hockey, and that was the end of that.
Was it a conscious choice?
You know,
I mean, did you? Yeah. I obviously at some point. And first of all, gosh, what a horrible way to learn that, you know, of the cause of your mother's death. I'm sure that kind of trauma, you know, there's just no words. And I'm curious, have you dealt with that trauma? I mean, obviously you've overcome it. Have you made your peace with that?
I made my peace with it about 10 years ago. I really started to look at what my mom gave me. She not only gave me life, but she gave me the life I have today, which if I had a choice to bring her back or give up what I have today, I wouldn't do that. There was a lot of questions and anger and resentment I had for many, many years, as any normal kid would. And I just self-destructed trying to deal with it and figured I was going to end up dead like her. And when I thought, no, I don't want to end up like her, I then began to understand why she ended her life. Because I've struggled with suicide ideation my entire life, but I always know I can get out of those thoughts. And that's part of, as a clinical counselor, what I help other people do as well.
Wow. You're a paragon of strength, my friend. That's I'm sorry you've gone through all that, first of all, but I mean, obviously you've been able to internalize it and really draw purpose from it. So that's kudos to you.
Do you know what's interesting to me, guys? And I'm using humor a little bit because that's what I do, but I can see the looks on your faces right now, and I appreciate that. And to me, I kind of talk about this. I don't mean to come off as very blasé, like I'm giving a weather forecast, but I'm used to it. However, when I see the kindness that you guys are showing on your faces, it does bring it back to perspective of, I'm very grateful that I got here, because it wasn't easy. So I appreciate your response to what I'm sharing with you guys today.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm listening to you, and you know, and as PJ knows, I've been very, very transparent on this podcast about lots of things in my life, and I'm going to share something I actually have not shared publicly before, which is that my first wife abandoned me and our children, who were very, very young, because of our own substance abuse issues. And she was a lovely person who was consumed by her demons, leaving a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old with me. And I was 26 or 27 years old at the time. And fortunately, the story has a happy ending in terms of my children, who are now adults. My oldest will be 30 this year in 2024. My youngest is a young mom and will be 26. They're both doing lovely. My oldest daughter's in the Navy. My other daughter is a registered nurse. They're living wonderful lives. But the impact, of course, of addiction on their lives was profound, and on mine by extension, even though, of course, I myself was not an addict, but I got to live with someone who was struggling with it and unfortunately succumbed to it. And so I'm hearing your story. I'm remembering my children dealing with the trauma. And so the empathy you see on my face is because I can almost see little Todd at 10 years old understanding what has happened, and not understanding, because that's not the proper word. You didn't understand it. You were made aware of it. Understanding, as you said, and certainly coming to terms with it is years of work and a great deal of effort, and doesn't come easily. And so that's what you're seeing on my face. And look, I would say I look at what you've done with her story and your own, the fact that, you made at a certain point in your life, and, you made a serious commitment to physical fitness, and to well-being, and obviously eventually to competing in Ironman triathlons. I mean, that is the embodiment of resilience and of courage. And frankly, it's also about the human spirit and the ability of the human beings to change. So that's what I'm hearing there. Tell us, what were some of the shifts in outlook, in priorities, in addressing triggers, which I know are obviously very critical, people, places, and things. What were the things you had to be aware of and address while you were transitioning away from dependency to empowerment?
I have to come back and address this before I answer that question, you guys. Listen, I've done a ton of speaking engagements. I've done a ton of media stuff, and I really feel connected already talking to you guys. When you said at first to me that my mom would be proud of me, I was like, oh my God, this is getting emotional. And then you just sharing that story right there, it makes me think of my dad. Not only did my mom kill herself, my uncle killed himself from drugs, my aunt killed herself from food. And you're sharing what you did as a father reminds me of how awesome my father and my stepmom were and are. And I need to say that to you as a father, good on you for picking up the slack, so to speak. No criticism to your ex-wife, their mother, but praise needs to be given to those that really did the best they could to help their kids. And you certainly have done that. And I congratulate you on that. And I'm going to say thanks to my dad and my stepmom for what they did for me too.
I'd be remiss if I didn't jump in and also make sure that, the woman I married next, who raised my daughters and our shared son, gets every bit of that praise, and quite arguably much more so. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say that.
Boy, we're getting into it, and I love when I talk about things that I've never talked about on a show before. So here comes some stuff of that. You were talking about obstacles and some of this. I had deep resentments for my stepmom, and I don't even like referring to her that. She is my mom, but I have to clarify who she was in this. Just because I didn't know what to do with the emotions I felt, and I took it out on her. Horrible. October 6th of 1986, I physically assaulted my parents. I'm just grateful that they're back in my life today. I just became a grandfather. My parents are now great grandparents. I have 4 beautiful kids. But as you said, my second mom, she was instrumental in me even starting Ironman. So it's like when we have these triggers or whatever the cliche words are, we also can apply empathy, humility, and gratitude for what we have and utilize those things, such as I said with my stepmom being a runner. She inspired me to be a runner when I wasn't playing hockey anymore. So for the person that I was so angry at, she was the catalyst that is part of me doing everything I'm doing today. And that's what I want the listeners to see. There's an upshot, a major upshot to getting sober and dealing with your trauma.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't get you back to priorities, outlook, and triggers, because I think that's a really important point for anyone that's particularly in the earlier stages of trying to overcome addiction, coming to grips with needing to reset your outlook, your priorities, and understanding your triggers is important. I want you to speak to that. I just want to comment on what you just shared, and you know, thank you for sharing that with our audience. I'm sure that they're as touched as I am. How could you not be? I mean, look, the reality of it is that children dealing with trauma, severe trauma, react in ways with their underdeveloped brains that they later come back to and look at with great regret. And I have a lot of personal experience with that. My own daughters have turned out beautifully. There were very difficult moments. I don't need to get into them. And I'm so grateful that you know, that now we're well on the other side. And I'm also seeing that, you know, in other ways in my life today, you know, which I won't get into out of respect for, you know, for the woman I love. And I would just want to say that, you know, whatever you did, and it's great that you're holding yourself accountable and that you're able to recognize that it was unjust, and that, thank God, that you were able to make amends. I think that that's, you know, I wish that for everyone that has struggled, and maybe as a result of their struggle acted in ways they're not proud of, or in ways where they hurt people that love them unfairly, that it's, you know, it's never too late to do the right thing. But let's get back to you know, to priorities, triggers, and outlook. What was it that you know, you felt you needed to transform, and how'd you go about doing that?
Well, I'm going to talk about a priority in my addiction, and my priority in my addiction was not to wake up the next day. And you're bringing a lot of stuff out of me on an emotional level. I remember ranting and raving one time to my dad about what a crappy stepmom I had, and he looked at me when I was completely out of my mind and said, "Do you think you could have been a better son?" And you talk about a sober wake-up call. So my priorities have switched from being an angry, suicidal maniac to walking with grace, humility, and gratitude, where my priorities are, I'm not drinking today, and I'm going to do everything that I graciously have in my life to not only improve as a human being and a father and the founder of Racing for Recovery, but to deliver this message of hope to as many people as I can, so they can get what I live today, which is an amazing, extraordinary life. So my priorities are taking what I have and making it work for somebody else. 100%.
That's amazing. First of all, I'm quiet because I'm trying to assimilate all this all this information that you guys are sharing. Normally it's, you know, we're a little bit more lighthearted, not always, but we're kind of lighthearted. We're like, you know, hey, we're all human, business is business, but it's the humans behind the business that really drives this podcast. And you know, every entrepreneur who rings a bell in triumph, there's many more that don't have a bell to ring yet, and this is supposed to be, you know, more that inspirational kind of place for them. But this is a whole different type of inspiration. And Tal, I didn't know that, right? So as someone who I am partnered with, I feel a little bad that I didn't know that. I don't feel, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, and I'm sorry that you went through that, and that's terrible. And Todd, you've gone, you know, everyone sits there and says, I had family problems growing up, and basically everyone does, because every family is dysfunctional to a certain level. But you have been through the ringer, and reconciliation with your dad and with your stepmom, especially when she was the focal point of your anger, and to be able now to say she's a fantastic great grandma to my grandchildren, says a lot about you and your ability to to move past everything that you've built up, right? We're all very good about building up walls around us and building up emotional barriers to people as a self-protection mechanism. But the fact that you've gotten to where you are, and for me, I'm just thinking like that would be like just pure exhaustion of doing a marathon. But to get to that point of your exhaustion, you're letting it go, and you're accepting the love that they have had at the perimeter of your life the whole time, it's an amazing story of growth. And I think that I'm proud of you. I don't know you. I just met you, but I'm very proud of you. And it's just very, very cool. I'm a little thrown off on all this here today. Look, let's first of all, thank you. I just want to say that. In regards to everything that you've done, right? Like, I know life is a long search for understanding, I think, in me, right? I think at the end of the day, you know, I had shared on a previous episode with Tal that, you know, I had a very, I think I had a very strained relationship with my own father, because I always felt abandoned by him. When I was growing up, he was dead to me, basically. So as I got older and we just started to rekindle that relationship before he passed, I was like, well, he's just a nice old guy, right? But you're always searching for understanding. You're always searching for growth, as a person, as a community member, as a family member. You've been able to do a multitude of things. You've been able to balance family life and personal training and getting your body as an instrument, not only for your own clarity, but just to be able to reach the goals that you want to achieve. Your decision to pursue this career as a licensed counselor, taking everything that you've gone through, and now you're just digging into it. You're not trying to avoid that part of life. You're trying to, you're conquering it. And also running your nonprofit. All of these must have been a tremendous challenge. You've already shared many challenging times from your own, you know, from your own personal past, from the business standpoint of when you're trying to launch an entrepreneurial dream. How did you manage to persevere through all these times? And was there a particular time on the business side of things that you found challenging as well?
You know, we may end up talking for about 10 hours here because there's so much to this story. You mentioned the word perseverance tattooed on my arm. You know, I've lost everything in my pursuit of making Racing for Recovery work. I am a guy, and I'm sure you're starting to figure that out. I don't lose. I want to do something and I find a way. But in the way of making Racing for Recovery successful, and I want to state this first and foremost, I may have come up with this concept, but I would not be here without the support of my coworkers and some key help along the way. But the journey to get here has not been easy. I filed for bankruptcy 2 times. I had houses taken away, cars repossessed, financial catastrophic things, lights almost getting turned off, not knowing where our next meal is going to come from. As a father, that's tough to deal with, but I knew I had something. I knew I didn't want to be a regular business guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I was willing to invest everything into Racing for Recovery because I knew I was going to get everything out of it, and other people were going to do the same. That's what it takes if you want to be successful. Nobody handed me this. I didn't steal it from another organization. I've had people, you mentioned my copyright, I've had people steal stuff from me. I don't do that. I created something that was unique. I believed in it. I still believe in it, and it's awesome. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make this reach as many people as I can.
God bless you.
Yeah, I well said, PJ. God bless you for that. I'll tell you, I'm hearing that story, and for those who've been fans and have listened to multiple episodes, unsurprisingly, the themes of this podcast are again universal. Among the people that we invite on, time and again, what has separated the people that have made it through, that have achieved their goals, that have accomplished big things, is that they refuse to be defeated. They refused to be defeated. You've heard me say it multiple times on this podcast, and I hope that if you remember nothing else out of this podcast down the road, you remember that the path to your dreams is going to be is going to have plenty of moments along the way where lesser mortals will quit. And if you do not, if you are passionate, if you believe that you are on to something that represents the purpose of your life, then carry on and refuse to be cowed. That is what separates the winners from those who tried, maybe gave it the old college try, but didn't make it all the way. So I'm hearing that from you, Todd, and I would be remiss if I didn't yet again make that point to the audience.
I love talking to you guys, and I need to update my bio because, and I don't like promoting my stuff, but I just released my 5th book of the 100 and so Ironmans. It's a picture book, and I had a billboard in Times Square this past weekend because, of course, I was there to see Kiss. But I'm standing there looking at this billboard, getting my picture taken for some stuff we're doing, and I had those thoughts that you were just saying right there. How am I able to do this right now? And the answer was because I didn't quit. I didn't give up. I persevered. I like I said, I don't lose. I get these ideas in my head and I do whatever it takes to make them happen. And that's what it takes. All the books I read, whether it's musicians, politics, business guys, it's the same story with a different name on the book. I had a dream. I worked my butt off to get it. Here's the obstacles that I went through. Here's how I overcame it. Boom, success. It's the same story. And mine's no different. It's just full of a lot of crazy drug stories. You know what I mean?
Look, you took away my last question of the day, but that's all right. I was going to ask you about that Times Square billboard campaign, which is amazing. How incredible and what a privilege. I feel that we need to dig a little deeper into one part of what was just said, because as people who listen to this podcast know, I'm not a believer in, masters of the universe narrative. So the point isn't, and I will challenge you if you tell me otherwise, but I'd love to hear your perspective on what I'm about to say. The point isn't that you didn't have doubts, I would imagine. It isn't that you were like, wow, what the fuck? I mean, is this really going to work out? Or am I just going to fall trying? I mean, it isn't certitude. It's perseverance. There's a difference between the two. What's your view on that, Todd?
I agree. Look, and, I watched our van get repossessed out of our driveway. I mean, they took our house away. We were without a house 2 different times. And I had my father said to me one time, he goes, Todd, I love what you're doing. Are you ever going to be able to support your family? And my answer was, yes, someday I'll be able to do it. And it's perseverance, and that's, there's a million good ideas that are in the graveyard right now because they didn't have what it takes to make it work. And I have that. I have that drive. I had it with hockey. I had it with practically killing myself with drugs and alcohol. And I just turned that same tenacity into a positive thing of self-betterment and service to other people. And it works. I'm not proud of myself for anything. I am grateful for the inner drive that I have because
wait a second. Nope, not gonna go with that. You need to be proud of yourself. You need to be proud of yourself. And if you're not, well, let this be my gift to you today then, because it is not only okay to be proud of yourself, it is essential to be proud of yourself. The person who must love you, and I'm not speaking just to you, Todd, but to everyone listening, the person who must love you the most in the universe is you. And given what you've accomplished and what you've overcome and what you've done, man, you better be damn proud of yourself. So if you're not, start being.
I'm working on it. I appreciate that. Do I owe you for this counseling session?
Yes, you do, actually. And there's a difference between pride and hubris, right?
Well said. Well said, Mr. Benoit.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Every once in a while, I'll bust something out. But there's a difference because you're not walking around like, thumping your chest. I'm the crap. I'm the shit. You're not doing that. You have though accomplished astonishingly hard things, and you've overcome obstacles that I don't even want to really picture myself in. And it's a testament to you, and you should be proud, just like Tal said. And I challenge you on it too. You got to be proud of yourself. And you don't have to be an asshole about it, but you can be proud of yourself, and realize and have that in your own bedrock that, you know what? Yeah, I did okay. I'm doing all right. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy.
It's fair. Okay, before you say one more thing, Todd, just this, I want to throw this in as well. Gratitude for sure. Be grateful that you are on this side, but pride and PJ, such a good point. Not hubris, but pride is an emotion you must feel given what you've been through. And it is, far be it from me to tell you how to feel, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you, gosh, man, if I accomplished half the things you've done, a third of the things you've done, I'd be walking around like, like I had feathers up my ass. I mean, and I mean that in a completely theoretical way.
That's also another thing I never want to picture myself in, just that as well. Just saying.
Understood.
I listen to you guys. I'll say this. I am proud of utilizing my perseverance to get me to the life that I have today, which is so full of gratitude. I can't even describe it. I live my life with empathy, humility, and gratitude. Those three words are the foundation of my life. They're the foundation of Racing for Recovery. And they're great words when you can actually live and understand them. It's great.
Wow. Well, this is a ton of fun, I gotta say. So Racing for Recovery, let's talk about something very, very near and dear to your heart, has become through all of your work a beacon for many. How did your personal experience influence the founding principles of this organization, and what does that mean to you for you to see that impact?
Right before I came on the podcast with you guys, I was running another mental health group with the 80 or so people that we have living with us here at Racing for Recovery, getting help. I started this concept because I was starting something I wish I had for myself. I didn't have what I knew I needed when I was a young kid. My earliest recollection of being a kid, I'm 10 years old. But when I got into having behavioral problems, and I was, my desk was moved in the hallway or put in the principal's office. And when I started using drugs and all the chaos started, nobody ever said to me, "What's wrong? Why are you doing this?" It was just, "Don't you see what you're doing? You got to quit drinking. You ruined this. You pissed in my mailbox last night." It was just, I'm like, I know, but no one's helping me with.
You pissed in someone's mailbox?
That's a whole other question.
Yeah, we will laugh about.
Was there mail in that? Because I think that's a federal crime.
Federal offense. Yeah.
Great. Now you're putting a warrant out for my arrest on a podcast here. I appreciate that, voice. But it was, nobody asked me that. And I created Racing for Recovery. It's a unique concept that focuses on the impact of trauma. And if we can understand the impact of trauma on a clinical and psychological level, then we can start to not only implement a balanced, holistic lifestyle, but actually enjoy not using drugs and alcohol. A lot of times in traditional meetings, people are not drinking, but they're freaking miserable. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want to know why I hated myself so much and heal that, and then go out in the world and kick some serious butt and enjoy it. And that's what I do today. And that's basically the concept of Racing for Recovery. What's wrong? What help do you need? And then how do you create the life that you never thought you could live, and then go live it?
Incredible. As PJ knows, my significant other, Erin St. Hill, is a psychotherapist, a clinical therapist, and she has devoted her entire career to working with people that are overcoming or trying to overcome trauma and are dealing with PTSD. And So I have tremendous appreciation for it as someone that experienced severe trauma as a child myself, and obviously saw my children experience it. So I can really relate to that. And I think, look, ultimately a lot of folks who are, in those moments of life that are the crucible, right? Where just bad things have happened, maybe things have gotten away from you. It becomes a great challenge to be pulled back from the precipice. And it hardly ever happens entirely through one's own effort. It almost always requires some influence, some person willing to see you, embrace you, tell you you matter, try to understand you, help you understand yourself. And, almost like taking someone that is learning how to ride a bike, hold the, the bike steering. What is that called? The handlebar.
Handlebars.
Yeah. As you take your first unsteady steps or your first few pedals. So, that's, as I think of what you're doing, Todd, it sounds to me a lot like that. And that brings up another topic that I think is, really critical, which is trust, right? So people who have dealt with addiction struggle to trust themselves and others. And yet reality is to trust and to lean into other people's knowledge is a key part of being able to overcome. Tell us about, even in your own organization, you've got to learn to trust. You need to delegate. You need to collaborate. You've built something that's massive now, right? How is trust and both from a practical standpoint of literally trusting someone with your baby, and maybe more holistically, the concept of trust, how does that, what role does that play in Racing for Recovery?
We were getting into some emotional stuff here. First of all, you mentioned the people that helped me. If it wasn't for my grandma, and no disrespect to my parents, my grandma was my rock from a young kid up until she died in 2012. She gave me the ability to help myself. My former hockey coach on a business level really helped me put Racing for Recovery on the map business-wise. I trusted that they felt I was good enough for them to invest in me so I could fulfill my dreams and invest in other people. Along the way, I'm still the same trusting person. I've been burned with that trust very badly in business. Like I said, I've been stolen from, trademark violations, all that stuff. So it's made me more careful with my trust. I vet things more than I used to. I surround myself with people who know me better than I know myself with certain business decisions. I'm willing to ask guidance. I don't have to make all the decisions all the time anymore, which I feel grateful for. I trust in people that are better than me, that can help me and Racing for Recovery be better for what we do. Very interesting process that's been.
Yeah. The trust is a hard apex to climb, right? Like especially if you've been burned before. Tal's been burned, I've been burned. You've been burned. And a lot of times it's easy in the beginning. It's easy to give trust because you want to be able to focus on other things as you're building your empire. And then a lot of times you do get burned. And then
I'll tell you guys something after I wish I could say what I would share with you after the podcast, but I literally was burned today. So I'll tell you about it after we finish recording.
Okay.
I mean, in an order of magnitude. All right. So I hate to do this to our audience, but I'm literally living through that as we speak.
This will be for the for those other the people that subscribe to another level for the show. They
I
can,
think I'd be sued, so
Ah,
probably not even them, but
and we're
fair
not
enough.
going to put that on that extra.
It will not. It will not. We will need to. You will need to tell me when the extra is done, and then I will tell you that
Okay,
piece,
fair enough,
please.
fair
Yeah.
enough. But yeah, being burned, it
Being
sucks.
burned sucks. Well
Sucks.
said.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
yes,
There's another
it
tough.
does. It hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when you do it yourself though too, right? I've burned myself many times in stupid things, and it's sometimes it takes a while to learn that, but you have to be able to learn when to trust, who to trust, and how to trust, and eventually you will get there for sure. One of the things that you had shared is your message, which is with sobriety, anything is possible. Normally, when I'm not sober, that's when I feel like everything's possible. Especially like moving large, heavy things. I feel very possible when I'm not sober. This powerful message is actually at the core, though, of all your speaking engagements. The simplicity of it belie the complexity of that task, really, if you think about it. So what would you say to someone who is either not there yet in their own life or loves someone who is, about the first couple of steps towards realizing this mantra, towards living this?
I'm going to answer it this way. I'm not a guy that does this. You need to, you should. I don't speak like that. I prefer actually not to speak and let, I guess, my resume over the past 30 years speak for itself. And what I'm trying to elaborate here is a lot of times showing people examples, that's all you need to do. If they have questions along the journey, sure, I will say this is what I did to overcome such and such. But my message to anybody is, if I can do something like this after doing what I was doing that you're currently doing, you can do it too. And that's a fact. And sometimes I've had people that have said to me, oh my God, Todd, you're so far out there. I can never achieve all that. And I'm like, you're right. You won't. It's if you're speaking like that, you won't. However, if you can look at somebody and say, oh my God, you're really far out there, and start to see what you can do to get there, then you'll get there. And that's exactly what I did when I was in early recovery. I looked at people that had what I wanted. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. I don't have to do it their way. That's what makes Racing for Recovery different with respect to treatment. It's not like the traditional programs where it's like, if you don't do this, you're not going to be sober. That's just flat out not true. I prefer to take a concept that it can be individualized for the person to do it their way.
Let's say, as we're rounding the bend here, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your children. I believe you have 4 of them, and that your relationship with your children and their story is a big part of you. So I wanted to give you a platform to say a few words about them.
I appreciate that. I wish they were here right now so I could embarrass them.
Well, you could embarrass them with tens of thousands of people listening. How about that?
Awesome. I'm going to start with my beautiful, kind, intelligent, caring daughter, Skylar, who was born 5 years to the day that I quit drinking.
Oh.
That's not a coincidence. Very cool. She is the one that just had her baby, Harrison. She works at Racing for Recovery. My son, Connor, graduated from Bowling Green State University. He is now in the Army Reserves. Nice. Very proud of him, serving this awesome country of ours. My daughter, Madison, is probably the one that's most like me with that fire in her belly. She also works at Racing for Recovery as she's finishing up nursing school. My little guy, Mason, he also works at Racing for Recovery. He's the one that is the most like me on some good ways, and he's the one that I get scared about a little bit. I am going to share this. His best friend, since he was 3 years old, committed suicide a year and a half or so ago, first weekend of their senior year in high school. it crushed my son, and it crushed our community. And I've watched my son hang in there, battle through it, and I'm so proud of him for just being a drug-free, kind, compassionate, funny, crazy kid. So all four of my kids they're beautiful souls. I'm proud of them. I'm thankful for their mom for helping all the things that she did along the way. And yeah, my kids are awesome. Thank you for allowing me to do that. I appreciate that.
Also, how cool is it as an entrepreneur to build something that a few of your children are actually a part of, right? That's cool as well.
You know, it's great. My daughters that work here, they are tough. You know, we're in a field of alcohol addiction, and recovery is an interesting field. And my daughters are tough. My son kind of stays in the background. My kids, you know, they know what their dad does. They try to stay out of the spotlight and the hoopla stuff. They're like, yeah, that's my dad, whatever. But they all bring a certain they bring a great wealth of knowledge to people in here, but they bring their personalities into this building, and it's awesome. I get to go to work with my kids, or three of my kids, every day, and it's just awesome.
Oh, that is amazing. That's something to aspire to for a lot of entrepreneurs as well. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. One other thing that I've learned about you that I am in 1,000,000,000% agreement with is the fact that you start decorating for Christmas on November 1st, which I absolutely love and have done.
My man.
Have done, right? Screw it. I wish we could have lights up all year round. Truly. I mean, like it makes the neighborhood look so much nicer, but
then it's not special, PJ.
It's still special. It's still special.
That's, there's certain things that when those lights come on, and I'm Jewish, so I don't necessarily hang lights, but I love looking at them. When they come on, there's that feeling of, gosh, another year. And it's a moment of reflection, and it's a moment of, appreciation. And if it was there all the time, that wouldn't be happening. That's my point of view.
Well, you know what though? It's because you live in Florida. The weather doesn't change. Here in Chicago, the weather changes. So we have.
I'll have you know that as we speak, it is, well, no, it's 70 degrees right now, but it was 43 degrees this morning.
You poor thing.
43 degrees. You should have seen me go out on my run this morning. I was bundled like I was going skiing.
See, that's something that you guys have in common that I don't. You went for a run. Was someone chasing you? Either someone's got to be chasing you, or there's free food at the end. That's all I care about. So, anyway, love the fact that you decorate for Christmas on November 1st. In your view, what's the role of humor and levity? Like, how do those play in recovery and pursuing a life of purpose?
Humor, laughter, and recovery. Oh levity. My God, being on with you guys, I'm listening to you guys. I'm like, this is a circus. I love it. This is what sobriety is about.
This is a circus is a t-shirt, PJ, I think. This is a circus, braving business.
But now I'm thinking, Goodfellas, like, are you calling me a clown? Do you say I'm humorous? Do I amuse you?
Right, amuse you? Oh, we want to do that? Okay, the Goodfellas thing. All right. Great movie.
I find that, to me, that's a compliment. What he just said, I'll take it as a compliment. Yeah, I think he meant it as one. That's for sure.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
As soon as you guys started talking, I'm like, oh, I'm going to love this. And I do love it. I want a couple quick things. Humor is essential. Every group that I run, I want to teach something, evoke some emotion in people, and I want them to laugh. If I do those three things in a group, it's a great group. I do that for myself every day. I want to laugh, I want to learn, and I want to feel emotions. That's life. With respect to the Christmas tree thing, okay, I want to get into this a minute.
Yes, sir.
I set my stuff up this year at 2:30 in the morning because I was still jet lagged coming home from Ironman Greece. So that's some early stuff. I'm putting my tree up at 2:30 in the morning, and my buddies were like, what is wrong with you? I love it.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Well,
how did you know that?
How do we know that? We know Todd,
Yeah.
there's a reason we are a top 1% podcast. We do our homework, we research, we ask questions.
We moonlight as private investigators.
We do that too. Yes.
Wait a minute. Now I know. You guys are the ones that were hanging in my bushes last week when I came out. That was you, wasn't it?
No comment.
But,
okay,
right.
I think we need to move on. Ladies, gentlemen, our guest today was the incredible Todd Crandell. It's been an absolute joy and privilege and pleasure to talk to you today. I think that what you do is inspiring, and I'm honored to have had the opportunity to speak with you today. Please come back, tell us more about what you're doing next time you have a book or anything to promote. We'd be honored to have you back. Your life story is frankly what this podcast is all about. Someone that, wasn't born on third base and thought he hit a triple, fought, persevered, scratched, clawed, failed, recovered, and look at you now. And that's our message on this podcast. I mean, it is not about being great. It is not about being the best. It is not about being, just some sort of master of the universe. It's about fighting through. And, if you do that, if you commit to having purpose, living a life of purpose, if you commit to making an impact on other people's lives, you live a life that's purposeful. Whether you'll become a millionaire doing it, I'm not commenting on that, right? I do happen to believe that when you put your mind and heart against something that you're deeply passionate about, that the probability of you achieving financial success are also great. But maybe irrelevant of that, irrespective of that, your ability to live a life that is full of purpose and meaning is almost beyond reproach at that point. It would be almost impossible for you not to live a life of purpose if you fight through. And that's what I hope we're helping people to do.
Yeah.
And Todd, you certainly are. Thousands upon thousands of them all over the world.
Absolutely. I'm just happy that I know now when I open up the dictionary and I look up the word resilience, Todd's picture is going to be there.
That's right.
Yeah. I have nothing to say except thank you. This was awesome, guys. Seriously. I am so appreciative of being on here. I know somebody that's going to hear this and they're going to reach out to us and get some help. That's what I'm here to do. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Not only is that all we could ever wish for, but what's the best way for them to reach out to you if they need that help?
If you want to get a hold of me personally, and I answer everything, Sober Ultraman on Instagram. If you want to call us, if people still do that, 419-824-8462. Check out the live stream support group meeting every Thursday night on the Racing for Recovery YouTube and Facebook pages. Find us, call us, email, whatever. We will help you. If you're out of state, we'll get you here. We're here to help. Come use us.
Todd Crandell, it's been a privilege.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.